talking
You know,
about
we
today?
talking about relationships.
You know.
Listen, guys. Let me put y'all down. We having a thing. We're doing a thing on 12923 at the Temple. Well, I'm gonna say that because I'm gonna say it wrong. It's the Temple of New Thought, right? New African Thought.
Yeah, Temple of New African Thought.
5525 Hartford Road. 12923 at 4 o'clock. We're talking about relationships. It's going to be a community talk. It's me and Dr. Dennis. And then we also have a lineup. We got some live music. You waving at me? We got some live music. We got some we got a meditation movement by Michelle Blue. And we have Baba also. He's gonna speak. So we got a whole cadre of stuff for the community, and we're trying to do some things differently. You know, sometimes we forget that we're so gifted. We can sing, we can dance. You know, we just bring everything to the culture, but sometimes we need to put that on the shelf and just talk and just get some things out. You know what I'm saying? Because we naturally being African, we're just gifted. We're just gifted people. That's just, you know. What you say, bro?
Okay. So Africans are just gifted.
Everybody talk like us. Everybody sing like us.
It's the melanin.
What it look like? We just gifted, bro. It's all that.
Melanin,
you see all this brown popping on the screen. We popping.
Okay. I never seen somebody put a do-rag on and look so good.
Don't tell the public that. Y'all don't believe that. But yeah, so, you know, we're so gifted. Sometimes I think we take it for granted, you know, like everyone can do what we can do. That's not true. And so a lot of times we utilize that and go forward with our gifts. And sometimes we don't talk about our stuff, or we just don't talk about how we relate. And so this is what this is. It's just a conversation. You know, we really want to bring out relationships and how we are being in these relationships. That's what it is. But I want to ask you a question, because you know I always got a question. So what is the relationship of America to the relationship of Black people?
I mean, what's up with all that? What's up with all the relationship with America to relationship with Black people?
People say, well, why do you act this way? It's because, you know, I want to know our relationship in America, because everything is relationships. We have a relationship to where we live.
But I want to hear, I think you already have a thought behind the question, and then maybe I can. So I think that because it's a endemic or whatever they call it, it's obvious that we need to look at the social system and the structure and the culture that is producing poor relationships. You understand? So I think it's, without being said, that there's a problem that we're facing in this day and time, and it just hasn't just started, but it's just getting worse. And in fact, I think much of the problem is that we don't know how to be in relationships, and just romantic relationships. You know, some of us will get me for using the word romance because it has a Roman type of root to it, but nonetheless, this relationships are an issue in general, not just in the Black community, but in the Black community. America, what it's producing is more egocentric people. We all have to work past the egocentric conditioning that we have to protect ourselves in everything we think we have.
So the ego is playing a big role. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, some people would say ego is a scapegoat, but we're going to use it as something today. And because ego, when I say ego, I'm saying that core aspect of us is not good or bad, right? What we're afraid to is allow people to see that deeper aspect of us, that fragile part of us, and we've been conditioned that we have to protect that. So we have to do a lot of masquerading and parading and fronting, so we don't allow people to feel that aspect of us, because many times the people have taken advantage of us. And the reality is society has taken advantage of us. Society has taken advantage of all the people. I mean, if you're in America, you have been taken advantage of.
Every color.
And no matter who you are. But now, if we talk about us, we have been taken advantage of. And I don't typically quantify things, but I can say that it's possibly quantifiable that we are at the high level. Because, and some people say we're taking advantage of the most, but I can't say that because I say my dear Native American brothers and sisters, I won't want to have that fight with them.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you give that grace. And one thing I never want to get
I'm grace because I do have Native in me genetically. I can show you in my, but I'm also grace because they've almost been wiped off the earth. What else? What other?
Absolutely, you know what? And you're right, Dr. Dar. A lot of times I do not like to compare the Jewish hurt or the African hurt or the American Indian hurt. It's all bad, you know. And there's no to me no degree. Yes, the American Indian has almost been wiped out, and they have their ancillary issues, and we have our issues, and other people have issues. So when we speak about relationships, which we're delving into, when we're saying like the ego is controlling our relations and we all are being taken advantage by America, how do we then have these relationships with each other if we're being taken advantage by the society, by what we're doing on an everyday basis? How do we relate just as people? And the ego is a strong thing, bro. The ego is strong. So how are we going to relate if we can't even relate in society? How we do?
Okay, my phone went out for a second. So you saying relate to each other?
I'm saying the
ego is such a powerful thing.
If we're having these issues of being taken advantage of in America, we have these issues in America. We don't have a good relationship per se with society or America. How do we then put that in our pocket and then try to relate with each other with all of these other? Then we got pride, we got ego, we got all these other.
Example what I'm saying, because when I say America, I'm also including us in there. I'm saying, see, what happens is we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled.
That's what they say.
My phone keeps going. I'm sorry, these things are happening. But we've been hoodwinked, we've been bamboozled. We have bought into it. We have a taste that we like. So we are voluntarily. I'm not doing the Kanye West, but I am saying to some degree we are complicit with this country and its taste buds. We as you shared with me the other day, we talked about the sugar. Now they did give us the sugar. We eat sugar and it's hard to kick sugar, but it's also difficult to kick the American dream and promise.
You better say it. You coming now.
So in all the illusions of what it is to be in a relationship, and in fact, it's really not. See, the American dream is not necessarily relationship driven. When we talk about it, it's more of a false dream. It's really more of a like you pull yourself up from the bootstraps. It's not that communal. It's really a fiction. It's not really. To some degree, it's communal, but it's really only communal when it's us against them and so on and so forth. But okay, what am I really saying here? So let me slow down and say what I'm really saying. What I'm saying is the way that we better deal with each other is when we fast from the American psychological diet, the American cultural diet. And nobody who adheres to it really benefits. Nobody. I don't care about if you think it's them. They're not benefiting. No, they're not benefiting. And those people over there are not benefiting. The statistics we even show it. Now, it's only a few people who quote unquote benefited from it. And I still question whether everybody's calling me today. So it has to be difficult to have to protect and live in a competitive culture all the time, especially when you quote unquote feel like you're at the top and you have to keep your resources, what you feel like are your resources, and keep everybody else away from it. That's got to be a way to live. But nonetheless, that is what's happening and then we all are chasing these resources, and to some degree we are poor in relationships, all of our relationships, and then it even trickles down into our intimate relationships where they become very transactional. It is about what have you done for me lately type of relationship.
Transactional. Well, you know, that's what we learn. Transactions. If you live in a society, you're continually transacting. So how can you not bring that to your personal relationship, either with your family, intimately with your partner, however? Everything in America is a transaction. So it's very hard to turn that off. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of interesting. We talked about it. We like sugar. We know sugar not no good for us. See, some people, we don't want the stevia or the other things that kind of wean us off because it don't taste the same. And that's the same thing that goes on in America in our desire and our taste buds for what a relationship is to be like, and all these other transactions. People even say, I hear it all the time. People say, well, how is this relationship serving me? I mean, this is what we literally hear. And I get it to some degree. But if everybody's saying, oh, how does this relationship help me grow? How does this relationship, like, what about you helping that person?
Everybody got to get something. Everybody got to get something
from
the relationship. Come on. That's how I would say, socially engineered. Like, if I put in what I'm gonna get out. Mm-hmm. If I put 50 in, I expect you to give me 150 back.
Well, and that's not communal. That's not collective. See, some people are with 3 and they can reach a mango. Why would you have me jump up there and try to reach a mango when I'm only 5'9"? You get the mango, I might get the thing on the ground a little easy.
I think this is more than, so that relationship then becomes more of a united relationship, a communal relationship, as you're saying. The only way for that to happen is people have to realize what they're going through. So how do we look at that? How do we look outside of the situation that we're in and say, I want better relationships?
They're lonely. They're lonely. They don't have to go so far. Are you lonely? Let's ask the question. You're lonely. You're lonely. You feel like you're scared that you're never gonna be in a relationship. Am I good enough to be in a relationship? Do I have the qualities to be in a relationship? So now you have to change your diet and your expectations of what a relationship is, because what you're doing is not working because it's unworkable.
So it sounds to me like you switched it up on the person. Like, listen, it's on you.
It is. It's on us.
So the overall and optimal health of the relationship begins with you. Is that what I'm hearing? Don't take your time.
I would say
you took the time.
We know collectively what America is. And when I say America, we are part of America. I don't want us to keep taking out of the picture. We're here. You know, we are operating in the culture and perpetuating its existence. Right? For whatever crumbs we feel that we don't want to let go of. Some people crumbs are bigger than ours. That's correct. Some of us together, some of our crumbs are a little bigger than each other's. And so what happens is, I can't remember the question, but what I'll say is, the problem is we want to have the bigger crumb in our community, in our relationships. We want to have in our relationships. We're in relationships and we can't trust one another. We're competing with our partners. I'm not going to be in a relationship competing with my partner, because we're supposed to be helping and aiding and abating each other. We're supposed to be helping each other. So when we get into these arguments, like we have trust issues. When we go back to trauma, and we have to understand that we talk about this trauma, but we don't realize that those of us who talk about us being traumatized by America don't realize what the symptoms are and how we're and how we aren't healed from it, and how it's keeping us from being in healthy relationships.
That's the 5-letter boom word right there, trauma. But then to be able to talk about relationships, we got to talk about the ancillary and why we're broken. Am I correct? So some of the brokenness comes from our society, what we're experiencing every day, our lived experiences, and we
started that. We started with that. You and I started with that today. We don't got to go there because we already set the stage with that.
I'm not gonna
See,
let
the
you put it
problem,
on the people, damn
huh?
it.
No, we got to put it on us. See, that's the problem. See, that's what we're doing. And that's what we do in our relationships even. We do it at the higher levels, and then we take that same mentality and bring it in our households. It's her, not me. It's him, not me. We got to put it on somebody, and she could
But you
have
know,
smacked the hell out of you, but
trauma,
you stayed there.
Dr. Dog.
So what do you do with
Ain't nobody born with trauma. You got to pick it up from somewhere. So if you pick...
Some people are born with trauma.
Well,
some people are born with trauma.
You're right. There is some born in trauma. It can be. But what we're saying, the activeness of how trauma is proliferating or showing itself in behaviors is something we're picking up along the way. Am I correct?
Well, okay. So I don't answer that question.
You're correct.
Again.
You can be born with, you can have some inborn traumas. Very correct. But what we see in the behaviors and how trauma is manifesting itself in our behaviors and our inabilities to have positive relationships, we picked up trauma along the way.
That's cool.
So we have to talk about trauma before we point the finger at why you have to fix it. Because really, a lot of the behavior comes from what we picked up.
But we've already talked about it. Me and you, we start up the conversation talking about it. You can sit there and say he hit me and just stay there and be stuck, or you can say he hit me. Now I gotta get out of the way and I gotta duck.
You're Dr. Di. You can say that. But when somebody get hit, sometimes it breaks you down to the breakdown, and you like, listen, I can't go nowhere. You know, it might break your spirit.
Well, that doesn't mean that you take your man on the side of the ring and bandage him up and say, you know, are you gonna go back in there or are you gonna heal some more? You can go back in there, you're gonna heal some more. He can sit on the side of the ring and keep pointing his finger or heal, or he can go back in the ring. He does just sitting on there and saying, well, they did it to us is not enough.
But the reason why people stay in trauma is because we don't have the tools. And when someone comes to get the tools, the first thing the person says is, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you get out of it? Why didn't you move on? But that's what why you didn't is because of trauma.
That's not what I'm saying. Well, I'm gonna say it a little different.
What?
The issue becomes that when you get traumatized on a physical level, we're gonna use an analogy, is that it hurts to bandage that up and heal and care and take care of that wound. It hurts. So some of us will refuse and even ignore and avoid it. So when we talk about an emotional, physical level, we don't want people to show us where we've been traumatized and how we are getting in our own way. And that's the healing. That's where the healing takes place. If you see trauma, you are more likely to be traumatized if you don't deal with the trauma.
You taught me this. Trauma likes trauma. I got that from you. Did you not tell me that, right?
Yes. And I'm telling you that, and I'm maintaining that today. Until you deal with your own trauma, you will continuously re-traumatize yourself and others. And you will point the finger at everybody because those of us who are traumatized and we haven't dealt with it, we then become victims. And then you become a victim not only of the society, you become a victim of your relationships. Everybody's doing something to me. Or everybody seems like a threat, so I'm running away from my kid. Trust me, we hear people say it all the time. I don't trust nobody. And we think it's cute. I'm cutting everybody off. If I hear somebody else on their post say, I'm cutting everybody off, I'm going to get off IG. But I get it, but see, they're saying they're setting boundaries. And there's a difference between setting boundaries and cutting everybody off. Cutting somebody off is more indicative that you don't know how to set boundaries.
Oh, now that hit.
And then you say,
did you just say, if you cut people off that it shows your inability to set boundaries. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's more indicative that you don't know how to set boundaries. I'm cutting this one off. It's a new 2023. Everybody in the cuts. Everybody getting cut. Like, that is really, see, let me tell you why. Because what happens is when we don't know how to set boundaries, we wait to set what we perceive as boundaries when we're angry. That's the only time we can tell people no, because I'm angry now. F you. See, so I got to get to that moment when I'm saying I'm cutting people. That's all. Just hearing the language, I'm cutting. That's kind of aggressive and violent. You know, I'm cutting my family. You know, I'm getting rid of these generational curses and all this and all of that. And most of the problem becomes that person some things have happened to this person. But lots of times when we've been as I shared with you on one of your episodes, is that when we've been through trauma, we no longer see the world as clear as we believe we see it. We see the world distorted sense.
So trauma affects the vision. Woo.
It does. The belief system, the trust system, your emotional, I'm going to say emotional system for lack of a better term right now. Your neurological system.
Okay, I hear you. Well, we got somebody said something, you know, some of these community, humanity, mission, you know, these smart people. So I'm going to break this down to you because this your people's right here. Well, this question right here. I'm going to break this down for it. Common humanity mission said the inability to disconfirm, reject any evidence or arguments that might contradict your negative thoughts. You got to break that down to me because listen, thank you, CHM. What is that?
I'm in and break that one down because I don't know what Brother Kevin talking about. Brother Kevin, you said the inability to disconfirm, reject any evidence or arguments that might contradict your negative. Yeah. So what he's saying is we begin to struggle with the ability to look at things from alternative perspectives.
And you're saying that trauma is blocking this inability?
Yeah. Trauma, I'm not sure exactly what Brother Kevin is saying, but he's correct. If I'm following him, we begin to see when you're traumatized. You see how I'm going to just use you for an example. You see how you did not want to move past America's beating us up and doing this and doing that.
I mean, understand that we can't just attack the people. We got to say why do people act the way they
But it was easy for you though. It seemed natural.
You better get off me. I hear you. You bringing all these smart people, Brother Kevin, in here with all these big questions.
But we all do that.
Well, don't call me out.
Yeah.
Well, don't call me
out. We all to some degree fall in the categories where we have the inability to disconfirm. But when we're traumatized and there's certain things we haven't really healed from, we begin to believe what we feel. And that there, I'm going to say is prevalent in our community. And I don't want to throw any genders under the bus, but men typically are so cut off from their emotions. I'm going to start with the brothers because it's easier. So brothers are very analytical and all this type of thing, and they can just tell you the truth because they don't care about your emotions. You know, and it's not all men. But then I'm going on and I'm going to be as welcome by saying this, but I'll say it nonetheless. Is that sisters often, they often are on the other end of that spectrum, and they emotionally reason. And so what happens is we're missing each other. So one is like, I don't care about the facts. The other one is like, it's a fact. Another one's like, it's my feelings. So another one's like, my feelings are facts. And I'll say,
how do you get to the relate?
Both of y'all kind of got something y'all working on something, but y'all gotta connect it. You know, both of y'all gotta come to the center just a little. Men and women need certain types of training. See, men are you. A lot of men, you take them to cognitive behavioral therapy, this cognitive stuff. They already been, not all of them, because I know y'all gonna say they just as emotional as us. Yes, they are. Why? I'm gonna tell you why they are. Because they've been using all that brain power, whatever they call it, to discount everything and avoid real stuff. But like bills really exist, you know, like they really do exist. Why you asking about the bill? Let's think positive. You know, brothers can get on some stuff. But what I'm saying is, but when they can no longer do that and they have to face the reality, they have not had the emotional preparation. Whereas women have this emotional preparation, they can talk about, they can go into emotions and swim there, backward stroke and everything.
But it sounds to me like you're giving the
brother.
brothers an out because women have already been.
No, I'm not giving them out. They have to come to the middle. That's, you see, again, here you go. But look.
I'm like, don't do it.
Everything we just said before now, you forgot about. But look, the brothers, hey, the brothers have to come to the middle and the women have to come to the middle. And again, the sisters, somebody would say, you think I'm giving the sisters an out. Well, no, the brothers have to tap in and the sisters have to somehow pull back a little. This is just generalizations.
I get what you said, but it's like
generality.
We have to do things that we wouldn't normally do. Because, you know, a lot of times sisters, we pretty strong, Black women, you know, and that's what we talk about the sisters. So the sisters are pretty strong. We've had to be. So sometimes it's hard to step back when you know he's not doing what he should be doing or he's not being who he should be to you. Because a lot of times men say, just let me do it, but we don't trust you to do it.
Or the man before him.
That man,
because the women come to me all the time. Women come to me all the time, even for employment. You and I talked about this. And look, if you come to me, you better know it's going to be done. I don't need nobody questioning me. I'm going to probably do more than you. So the reality is that's a problem when you come to me. And I'm gonna just tell you, it happens on even on employment levels. Like people come here to intern and be checking all of them. You going? I just want to make sure you're going to do this. I just want to make sure you're going. What? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I'm a grown man, shorty.
But I see what you're saying. Is like people come in to check you, but you good, right?
Yeah, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure you're good. I'm going to look. I'm not going. My wife tells people. She says it this way. Before this one here gets over on you, he will get over on himself. But the problem is that's this trust, this trauma, and lots of times our previous experiences that we're bringing with us. Other people call it baggage.
I mean, but a human has to have baggage, bro. I mean, it's so disingenuous for you to live all of these lives and all of these relationships. You know, some people are, very relationship forward. They've been in a lot of relationships. They're really dating. They're really giving themselves to other people. When it comes to trying to get that one, then there has to be some baggage. It is disingenuous to say, okay, I'm going to move. This one beat the heck out of me and I'm going to forget all of that. Or this one cheated on me, or this, whatever they did. It's disingenuous for anyone, male or women, to say, listen, I could just leave that, put that in my pocket and move on to this nice person that's so nice to me. It's very hard. And I don't know if you have the ability if you're not trained. And most of us aren't trained.
You got to get to work. No, it's not disingenuous. It's that it's not disingenuous. It's not. Disingenuous is probably a better. We probably can think of a different word. See, people can have expectations. Are they going to serve them? That's another thing. But the other thing is, when I'm speaking about that, I'm not speaking about it as if people won't have baggage. But what I am suggesting is, if we continue pointing outward, that baggage.
So even if you have the baggage, you got to open up the bag and take the contents out. That's what you're saying.
It's hard if you back. But if you got if you're traveling with luggage, like you going to Japan for 3 months everywhere you go, that's too much to carry. And you want to ask him, why can't he carry it?
The man is strong.
And he gonna ask her, why can't you carry it?
We're not strong as men.
The luggage. No, we can't can't carry all that luggage ourselves or with nobody else. What we can, we should carry it as a community and heal it, and then condense some of that and get rid of some of that luggage that's unnecessary. It's okay when you go to Japan for 3 months, but if the only thing you're doing is going down the street to a job interview, or of your boyfriend's house to your girlfriend's house, that's just too much damn luggage.
It is. Listen, I'm gonna give you that one. You got 1, I got 0. All right. Brother Kevin, he kind of gave us a for example. He said, for example, when we say I'm unlovable, you reject as irrelevant any evidence that people like you. Consequently, your thoughts cannot be refuted, and that's not the real problems, that they are deeper. This, Brother Kevin, you got to break that again, Kevin. What is you killing me? Come on, that's your people. Break it up. Read it.
Let me read it. For example, when we say I'm unlovable, you reject as irrelevant any evidence that people like you. Consequently, thoughts cannot be refuted. That's not the real problems. They are deep. Okay, I think the gist, he's giving us an example of
he's saying if you're unlovable,
earlier.
if you are saying you're unlovable, you're rejecting when people say, well, I like you, because you said I'm unlovable. Is that what I'm saying? That's what he said? So consequently, your thoughts cannot be refuted, and then he's saying that's not the real problem. The real problem is deeper.
Well, I think that he went pretty deep on that one, that you have feelings that you're unlovable. I think that if you feel that you are unlovable, many times you don't articulate that, but these are deep down feelings, and hence you have fears that you're not lovable, and everybody in the relationships are transient, and you will be abandoned. So hence there's all types of reactions and responses and things that come from that, and if we continue to deal with what the society has done to us, we won't be able to deal with those issues. But at the same time, we have to hold the society accountable in changing that. We have to change the way the society breeds us, because again, oppression and poverty and just misutilizing people creates a dog eat dog world, Darwinist type of environment, which goes all the way into your bedroom.
So why do you create it? There's a reason to create it. Why are you creating that? Why do we have this dog eat dog world? So we know we have that, right? So if that's created, how then we turn that off and then have these beautiful relationships?
I think almost natural, but the problem is that's where culture's supposed to do its job. Our brains typically tell us that things are we're looking for threat because we want to defend and protect ourselves, but we have to cultivate ourselves to go to higher levels of being and consciousness and understanding. And that's why when you hear people that always want to be at peace, you're like, they always want to talk about that peace. But no, they have cultivated themselves to see people greater than just an opponent. And even if that person feels like or does things that's oppositional, they also understand that. So, for example, if my wife and I were to get in an argument, I know, because I have been cultivated to a certain level and degree, that this is just a momentary thing. There's many of us who see those arguments in these debates or disagreements as something that we can't get past, or we have to agree. If we don't agree, then we can't love each other, because we have to agree on everything almost. Or it's all types of things. Like we're not taught that we can coexist and disagree or be different. I can't be black and you be white. You can't be tall and I be short. Like everything's being played on. I can't be a male and you be a female. You can't be LGBTQ and I be whatever they call straight or what have you. You just can't. Everything's oppositional. Dr. John Henry Clark said we're in a society where everything is we're contending for everything.
So that's an intentional movement what society brings because it keeps a level of control.
It's almost natural, but we have to cultivate higher levels. So you're saying intentional, scared people do this. This is what the brain. This is what you do when you're afraid.
Movement.
And so it is being played on. But at some point, you don't have to play on something that's already out there because everybody's scared. It's systematic now. It's systemic. It's even not systemic in America. It's systemic in you. I have to defend. What do you mean, brother? What do you mean? You gotta go around, So it's like we're always on defense. We haven't taught to be okay. That that I can't be. We think we gotta be perfect. We think we gotta. We're delusional. This society creates a delusional. Women can't go to the bath. We know women have to go to the bathroom, and they don't give them enough bathrooms, and we don't know this. I'm sorry, because we're not able to really empathize enough to realize that the society is not conducive to humans. It's conducive to facades.
You're dropping dimes tonight. You dropping jewels. I'm gonna give you 2-0, but I'm coming back. You dropping real jewels tonight. I love that. But really, we have given. Yeah, we're in this together.
We're in it
so we
together.
Definitely have.
So it ain't no do it.
We're giving the people a piece of what's gonna go down on 129-23. It's Chats at TNAT. Y'all gotta come through. Get your tickets. 5525 Hartford Road, 4-8, 129-23. Chats at TNAT. We're gonna have a live community discussion. We're gonna have some live music, some good food, some meditation. A little group meditation to get get all of that stuff out you. So you can sit down and we can have some real great conversation. But this is what we need to do. We need to have these conversations. And gender roles are good because relationships between men and women are very prevalent. But it's all type of relationships. You have relationships with your children, with your job, people in your job. Relationships are what we all do all day, every day. So we need to get more healthy. And a part of getting healthy, I think, is communication. What you think, Dr. Duff?
Yeah, I think communication is a major part of it, but emotional regulation is even more.
What that is. What is emotional regulation?
So the ability to, as I spoke about earlier, let's chop this up a little bit. Men are taught that they have to keep it together. Or they're what?
Soft. Or one of them.
So they don't know how to they look like they know how to regulate their emotions. But the reason is they don't really regulate them. They just avoid them wholesale.
Okay.
They avoid them wholesale. You can't do that 100%, but you got, like you're saying, you suppress them and repress them. Women are not necessarily always taught to do that. So then they have to learn in a different way. So men have to tap into it and learn to, because they get in the waters, you're going to say, oh, look how emotional you are, man. Yeah, that's because no one ever taught him to swim. Again, when most women jump in, they can swim, backstroke, float, and be friends afterwards because they learned that you can fuss and argue, fight, and kiss and make up.
Men have to be taught to show emotion or to bring emotion to the relationship? Because women are being taught that. Is this just a natural?
Yes, you are. No, I just said that. We're taught differently. You are allowed that.
Okay.
You are allowed to hold hands. You are allowed to cry for your friend. You are allowed to not even show control at times, which is also a problem.
You are allowed. We are allowed as women to express. That's what and men are not allowed to express. So that's why we're on two different sides of the spectrum.
See, I still think sometimes women are allowed too much and men are allowed not to tap in too much. Like, so what happens is that's when, let's get the entitlement piece. Some women typically think they can just go punch him. Not all women, but lots of women think they can just punch a man and he needs to shut up. If he get mad,
really?
they swing hands. Oh, because he's fucking can't take it. He's a man.
But what if he hits you back?
And we buy into that as well.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And if you go and tell on her, like you can go to the authorities as a woman on a man who put his hands on you, but most men will not go to the authorities because what is that? What is he being? I'm saying all of us have work to do.
It. Okay. Listen, that's why this talk is gonna be lit. It's gonna be on fire. 129.23. Get your tickets. Where's the links? On your page? The links for the tickets.
The links. They can go to easiest way I can tell people to go to TNAT Holistic Wellness TNAT. Well, let me say TNAT -HWC .com and go to NAT HWC.com and go to events and then click events, and then they'll see they can
with singles $20
as a
couples are $35, right?
And if you polygamous or something like that, we might have to work something else out.
I want you to come if you're polygamous. You're gonna be. We need to hear your side of the coin. So it's TNAT-HWC.com. Okay. All right, guys. That's how you get your ticket. I'm putting it in the comments. Please come out. We need the community to be a part of this. Go ahead.
And also, my page,
all right.
They can go to my page, Dr. Dennis, the page we're on now, and go up to my description section, and there's a link that takes them straight there to the actual event.
Guys,
they
you
don't
go
have
in
to
his
do
link
anything else.
and his up there, right where you are. Just go up in the link and get your ticket. Come through. We craft these events for you. We really want us to heal as a community. I think these type of talks brings culture. It promotes community. What you think about that?
Absolutely, culture, and that's what and I'm going to suggest that since COVID, the little bit of things that we had going right to some degree has dissipated. The connections of people in general are not as strong as they once were, although they were already compromised to a great degree before COVID. And it takes community to have healthy relationships, and that's part of the issue as well. Is that is me and her business, or her and his business, and no one else's business? Because again, we can't trust anybody else to be in our business. But if you could trust your elders to be to guide you and have your best interest and have the relationship's best interest, that's the biggest thing. Not just her best interest or his best interest, but the interest of the relationship. The institution. Then move past some of that, and some of that comes through our historical trauma again, not and the failure of our family systems that was, and I'm going to say it was intentional, as you suggest many times. Be clear that I understand these things, but I also understand that it's up to us to remedy this.
That's true.
I mean, people think when they come to therapy that they want to keep going back and trying to find the reason what part of their what happened to them versus really trying to heal. Who did it and who's responsible? My mother, my father, the white man, who? But at some point, how is that going to help you? We can blame it on all of them. Let's say that we can blame it on all of them. Now what's next? We don't even have to look. We know that in America, that this system has really done a good job on traumatizing many of us. And I don't even think we have to look. I think it's without said, but let's say it. But let's also understand that once we realize what's happened, how do we remedy it? And at some point, we have to hold ourselves accountable to get out of the goddamn fire. But again, if you have a palate that likes fire, your
you
ass gonna stay in the fire.
That's what you're gonna do.
Yes.
Hey guys, I listed some of the who's gonna be there. So you guys, we got a lot. We got some music, live music. We got Conjure Collective featuring Akila Divine and Nate Variety. We also have, of course, Michelle Blue. She has a yoga business, a yoga studio in Baltimore, and she's gonna just take us through some meditation so we can just chill down and be ready to talk. We got Baba also. He's just gonna bring it because he's an elder in our community, and he's gonna bring what we need spiritually. And then me and Dr. Daw, we're gonna sit down and talk to the community, and we want you guys to talk too. But you know, Dr. Daw, he's a talker. I'm just there to move the conversation around. But we want the community to definitely have some input, because really we want to hear some real-time stuff, right? We want some things that's going on in your relationship, or things that you feel that you can't do in your relationship. Let's talk about them, because we can't be great as a community if we don't fix some of these relationships. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
vice versa. Yep. Vice versa is, you know, sometimes there are healthy places you can go. There's healthy communities that you can you can take part in. But what happens is our palate necessarily isn't used to healthy stuff. And so even when we go to healthy communities, we try to bring some of that in there. Yes. Or we just avoid it altogether. Because we'd rather go, we like unhealthy stuff. We gotta be honest. We like a little gangster. A little rough around the edges. We like somebody who like one of my clients used to tell me, I want a brother that I know will blow the motherfucking room up. Excuse my language. If something happened to me, I know he will blow that room out. So the problem is, I get what she's saying, but she wanted that person to have that threatening demeanor wherever they went, and people know, yeah. But the problem is, you can't turn it off. You know, when you have the problem with always having to have a them against us mentality, it don't stop. It don't stop when you go home. I'm telling you, I promise you, those of us who are the most against calling everybody out, those who rightfully are to be called out even, including this country, but we live calling everybody out and lack the ability to see that even in that same culture in the United States, there's aspects of the culture that has been uplifting. When we get home, we still do the same thing, because we always on. We always looking for something, and we have a lot of anger. So that anger in us, anger's a natural thing. It's necessary, but some of us are constantly enraged and angry. So we make hobbies out of being black nationalists to the extreme view, or hobbies out of being whatever, to call everybody out. Hobbies out of being extreme Christians, hobbies out of being extreme black nationalists, or whatever other thing, whatever type of political people, whatever, because it's got to be an enemy. But we go home and our wives and our children and everybody else, they pay for it.
But I think I don't want the conversation to negate, well, why do people feel that way? People don't just be angry. People are not just, we live in an oppressive culture that definitely triggers the behaviors we see. People are acting out the trigger.
I'm gonna do a skill. I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna do a skill we do in counseling for you right now. Could you repeat to me? Can you sum up what I said?
What? I'm the patient.
No. We're on a relationship right now. So it's called active listening, right? So active listening is you repeat to me what you thought you heard me say.
You said that you can't turn that behavior off. And that when someone, even though, and we become activists or nationalists, and we're angry all the time. And within that anger, it's hard to turn off. We take it home. The family pays for it. Actually, you personally pay for it because it is something that's brewing in you all the time. So I said, well, you want to hear what I said. You want to hear what I heard from you. So that's what I heard from you.
Okay. So now, was there ever a time that I denied that there's a culture that has helped
No, I didn't say you denied it. I said, but we have to, because when you say people being somewhere, we got to reiterate why.
But we started off with that.
We can never say it again. You always say we starting off.
No. Oh, just before I said that very statement, I
didn't hear it.
You know, what I said was, and I repeat various times, America is, and there is a culture, and there is the white man, and there is all. I said that various times, even right before then.
You got 3, I got 0. Got it.
I'm gonna take your
point. I'm gonna get a point.
But I think we'll get cut because I think Instagram cuts you off. What do you have in closing for the people?
Come out 12923 Chester TNet, 5525 Hartford Road. Go in Dr. Dawes Lane. Get your tickets. Come through. We're gonna have music. We're gonna have food. We're gonna have some community. It's gonna be all love. Akoma, which means heart. Come through. Love and relationships. Be there, because we're gonna be there. That's it. Love Black people all day, all night.
And that's what I was, and that's I couldn't remember the name of the event. So thank you for the conversation. Thank everyone for tuning in. Share, invite, thumbs up. Go to Queen's Black Box Radio on all platforms. Black Box is spelled in the chat. Go to Dr. Dennis Winkler. Follow me, like me, share me, all these type of things. Give us a call if you have any confusion about the tickets. 443-333-2970 is the office or the TNet Holistic Wellness Center. You can call my cell number. I'm sorry, let me get the right number. 410-777-5020 is TNet Holistic Wellness Center. They can probably help you if you have any struggles. Go ahead, Sister Queen.
5027.
5020.
I'm just trying to give people all the information. Yes, check us both out. Please subscribe to my YouTube, which is blackboxradio.com. Black Box Radio on YouTube. Come see us. We do conversations with Black people daily. We do it 8 to 9 times a month. We expose Black genius. So please come see us. Black Box Radio. That's BLAKBOXXRADIO. Subscribe, check us all out. Come out on next Sunday. No, 2 Sundays from now. Come out 2 Sundays from now. See us, touch us. Let's talk about relationships. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. We'll see you Sunday.
Peace and
power.
Day
after next. Peace and power.
Peace. Peace, Dr. Da.
All right.
Good night.